I thought moving into a nursing home would be the best decision of my life. I was wrong. At first, it seemed like the right choice. My family encouraged me, promising comfort, safety, and a worry-free life. But the reality was nothing like I expected. If you, or someone you love, is considering this decision, pause for a moment. A nursing home isn't just a place to live. It's a decision that changes everything. And the hardest part, once you're in, leaving is much harder than you think. In this video, I'm sharing 6 things I wish I had known before moving into a nursing home. If I had known these truths earlier, everything could have been different. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear might change how you see everything. And if you know someone who's thinking about taking this step, share this video with them. It might be the most important thing they hear before making a life-altering decision. Let's begin. 1. Losing my independence. The biggest shock wasn't the small room or the unfamiliar faces. It was losing control over my own life. Before, I decided when to wake up, what to eat, and how to spend my day. But suddenly, everything was dictated for me. Breakfast? Served at a set time, hungry or not. Lights? Turned off, ready or not. Going outside? Only with permission and supervision. I woke up those first mornings, looked around, and realized this wasn't my home, my books, my cozy chair. The little comforts I had built my life around, gone. And the hardest part? Once you lose independence, getting it back is nearly impossible. Slowly you stop questioning things. You stop asking to go outside. You start losing pieces of yourself without even noticing. So before moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make life yours? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you ever imagined. Leave, I'm here, in the comments if this resonates with you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. And if you think this is tough, what comes next might shock you. 2. Feeling forgotten. One of the hardest truths about moving into a nursing home: life outside keeps moving without you. At first, my family visited often. My daughter came once a week. My grandkids stopped by on weekends. For a while, I still felt connected to my old life. But then, time passed. The visits slowed down. My daughter called instead of coming. My grandkids got busy. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone said they'd come. But somehow plans always changed. I'd sit in the common room, watching others stare at the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered them. It wasn't that my family stopped loving me. Life just moved on, and I wasn't part of it anymore. One evening, I sat in my room, staring at my phone. I wanted to call my son, but I didn't. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to remind him I was still here, waiting for a visit that might never come. So I put the phone down. And in that moment, I knew this was my life now. Watching the days pass, hoping someone would remember me. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready for loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, once you're out of sight, you're easier to forget than you think. Leave "I'm here" in the comments if this resonates with you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if you think this is tough, the next part might be even harder. 3. Losing my sense of purpose. When I moved into a nursing home, I thought I was just changing where I lived. I didn't realize I was also changing why I lived. At home, I had purpose. I had a routine, watering my plants, making coffee, tidying up, small things. but they gave me a reason to wake up in the morning. But here, meals were prepared for me. Cleaning was done by someone else. Even the plants I once cared for weren't mine anymore. At first I told myself, this is nice, no chores, no stress, just rest. But within weeks, something felt missing. The days felt long, not because I was busy, but because I had nothing to do, and I wasn't the only one. I remember George. He was 84, a carpenter his whole life. Back home, he was always fixing things, building projects. But here, no tools, no workbench, no reason to create. I watched him change, his strong, capable hands now resting idly in his lap. One day he looked at me and said, "I just don't feel useful anymore." And that's when I realized existing without purpose isn't really living. The days blur together, your mind slows down, your body follows, and before you know it, you're stuck in a place where nothing ever changes. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you're here, just filling your time isn't enough. You have to fight to hold on to the things that make you feel alive. Leave "I'm here" in the comments if this resonates with you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if you think this is tough, what comes next might be even harder. 4. Declining faster than expected. Before moving into a nursing home, I was doing fine for my age. Not running marathons, but independent. I took care of myself, went for walks, cooked my own meals. Little routines kept me moving, grocery shopping, morning stretches, walking around the house. And without realizing it, those small habits were keeping me strong. But after I moved in, everything changed. No more cooking. Meals were brought to me. Need something? Just press a button. It felt like a break at first. But the less I did for myself, the weaker I became. My legs stiffened from sitting too much. Getting up from a chair felt like a chore. The muscles I had maintained for years faded, faster than I ever imagined. And I wasn't alone. I saw independent people who once walked on their own, suddenly needing walkers, then wheelchairs. The more help we were given, the more help we seemed to need. I remember Alice, my 81-year-old neighbor. She was full of life when she first arrived. She walked every day saying, "Just because I'm older doesn't mean I have to slow down." But after a few months, I noticed she wasn't walking as much. Then she got a walker, then a wheelchair. One day she looked at me with sad eyes and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." And that's exactly how it felt. The moment you stop using your body, you start losing it. In a place designed for comfort and convenience, it's easy to forget that movement isn't just about staying active. It's about survival. If I had known how quickly I'd lose my strength, I would have fought harder to keep moving. Even when I didn't feel like it, I would have pushed myself to stay active. So before choosing a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to stay strong when everything around you is designed to make life effortless? Because once you slow down, getting back up isn't as easy as you think. If this resonates with you, comment "I'm here" below. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video. And if you think this was shocking, wait until you hear what's next. 5. Losing my privacy and dignity. Before moving into a nursing home, I never thought about how much privacy I'd lose. At home, I had my space. I could close my door, sit in silence, live on my own terms. But in a nursing home, privacy isn't guaranteed. It's a privilege. From day one, I felt watched, staff coming in and out, scheduled room checks, shared spaces where you're never truly alone. Even basic things, getting dressed, taking a shower, using the bathroom required help. And I get it, they were just doing their jobs. But needing permission for things I always did alone? That was humbling. Shower, wait until someone is available. Bathroom, press the call button, and wait. Don't like the food? No other options. Then there's roommates. If you're lucky, you get someone easygoing. If not, noisy, messy, or struggling with cognitive issues that make sleep impossible. I was lucky. Others weren't. But the hardest part? Your space never truly feels like yours. And over time, dignity is easy to lose. People don't always wait before entering. You're spoken to like a patient, not a person. Your routine is dictated by someone else. Little by little, you stop feeling like yourself. So before choosing a nursing home, ask yourself, are you truly ready to give up the privacy and control you've had your entire life? Because once it's gone, getting it back is harder than you think. If this resonates with you, comment, "I'm here." And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you think this was tough, the final regret might change how you see everything. 6. Leaving is harder than you think. When I first moved into a nursing home, I told myself it was temporary, just a trial. If I didn't like it, I could always go back. What I didn't realize, leaving would be much harder than I ever expected. At first it seemed simple. If this place wasn't for me, I'd just return home. But home wasn't the same anymore. My belongings were gone. My house had been empty for months. Without meaning to, my children had already started making decisions for me. When I finally said, "I want to leave," they hesitated. "Are you sure you can manage on your own? Wouldn't it be safer to stay? We just want what's best for you." And that's when it hit me. I had nowhere to go back to. But it wasn't just about a place to live. Months of not cooking, cleaning, or walking much left me weaker. The independence I once had, fading. I no longer trusted myself to live alone, and that fear kept me exactly where I was. I met others who thought they were just trying it out. But once they moved in, leaving wasn't as easy as they imagined. The longer you stay, the harder it is to adjust back to life outside. And for some, leaving wasn't an option at all. Their homes were sold, their savings drained by care expenses. There was no going back. No one tells you this, but moving into a nursing home feels like a decision you can undo. For most people, it isn't. Time passes. The outside world fades into memory. Before you know it, this routine becomes your entire world. Final thoughts. I don't regret growing older, but I do regret believing a nursing home was my only option. I moved in hoping for comfort and security. Instead, I lost my independence, privacy, purpose, even my identity. Are all nursing homes bad? Some people truly need them. But before you decide, think carefully about what you'll be giving up. Because once you move in, life will never be the same. If I could do it over, I would have fought harder to stay in my own home. I would have explored every way to get help without giving up my freedom. And before moving in, I would have asked myself, do I truly need to be here? Or is this just the easiest option? If you're facing this decision, ask yourself, is this really the best choice for me, or just the most convenient one? Because your routines, independence, and choices are worth holding on to. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.